Inside the communications building, there is a room. Inside that room lives the Daily, the student newspaper. The Daily cranks out a paper 5 days a week for the entire school year. But just how does a story go from being an idea to being on the printing press? We followed one to find out. We start with a meeting where stories are pitched to Lexi Krell, the overseer of the paper, and Katie Burke, the news editor who works with reporters and finalizes their stories before they go to print.
I was also wondering if you wanted me to cover the shortage of...
Hayat Nouramine, a diversity reporter, was tasked with taking on a story about the low application rates for ASUW Diversity Commission Director positions. We decided to follow her on her story. At the same time, Christian Randall, a photographer, was tasked with taking pictures that are relevant to the story. We met up with Christian at Condon Hall, where he brought us on a short shoot.
I'm going to talk to Sierra Clemens. She organizes the commission directors. And the article that we're doing is about how there's a shortage of applications for these positions. Yeah. Hi. I'm Christian.
Easy shooting. Meanwhile, Hayat invited us to her room in the dormitories where she would be conducting her over-the-phone interviews with several individuals working in ASUW.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where the story is going right now. It kind of depends on where this interview goes. So hopefully I'll get to see what's important by what she talks about. Sometimes I just prompt the person to talk a lot and try to see if there's something important there, but I'm kind of focusing on what it means to the quality of diversity in ASUW. Is this kind of the same thing for all 8 commission directors?
Hayat and Christian brought their work back to the Daily newsroom in order to talk over it with their supervisors, have it edited, re-edited, and looked at a third time.
So right now I'm working up photographs for the paper. First we make the web version and then we process it to print on the newsprint. And once I've finished with this, then the photo editor will go through and make sure he approves the pictures, and then it will go through to design, where it will be put onto the page itself.
Luke Springer, the photo editor, sorts through Christian's photos and selects the one most fitting for the story. Luke also has the task of training his photographers and assigning them to shoots. At the same time, across the room, Hayat reviews what she has written with Katie, the news editor.
But then you never give the context or the required information saying how they're going about doing that. When they come in, I typically sit down with them and we edit their articles, and usually we go for articles that interest people but also affect people the most. And after that, I send it off and the rest of the newsroom takes care of it.
Hayat's article goes through several levels of editing before it's ready to go to a placement meeting. At placement, Lexi Krell, the editor-in-chief, reviews the good and bad of that day's paper with the editors. Then the stories, including Hayat's, are assigned to a part of the paper. Finally, Hayat's article and Christian's photograph are passed on to Lauren Bescher, a designer who will consolidate the layout of the story.
As a designer, I'm the last person in the process, and so once the story goes through the editors and in copy and everything, comes to me, and then I am the last person, so I put everything on the page.
The paper is then sent out to Pacific Publishing, a printing press in South Seattle, and distributed to students the next morning. So the next time you pick up a paper, remember what it takes to have this component of our student voice.